welcome to my modeling cave. Hi, I'm Hawkeye, your host of the Plastic Scale Modeling Hour. This last weekend I spent a lot of time working on my workshop. Why? Well, for one reason, I haven't been in it in a long time and it was getting dusty and it was unorganized. And secondly, I've got several grandkids now and they're all wanting to build models with Grandpa. Not just one at a time, but they want to do it as a group. So I had to open up more space on my workbench. So that's what I did. I spent my weekend working on the model shop, and it really feels good because you know what? I actually got building models again last night for the first time in a long time. Let's talk about the workshop a little bit. It's plenty of room, as you can see. I can stretch my arms out. It's plenty long. I'm not really sure of the exact dimensions off the top of my head, but it's probably almost the size of a small bedroom. On this side, I have all of my stash, or most of my stash. Aircraft kits are over here. I've got some more aircraft kits here. My shelf of doom, where some of my pre-started projects are. Up here I've got my automotive and armor. There's probably some more stuff back in the back here. But speaking of back, this whole section back here on both sides is my storage of my spare parts. Now I'm talking 30 plus years of accumulating parts ever since my first modeling project. I've got these things stored in totes that I've got on a dolly, which allows me to roll them around so that I can get to them and actually easily clean the floor. Some old stainless steel hospital cabinets, which are great for parts. I could probably spend 5 years just sorting through all this stuff. There's even some partial aircraft back here that are in different stages of construction. Some are mine, some are some stuff that people gave me. Over here again, small parts. Mostly on this side though, it's my decal collection, which I keep in boxes. It keeps them flat, it keeps them dry. Speaking of dry, I made sure that my workshop, there's a very minimum exposure to any water lines. It's a constant temperature down here. In the wintertime it gets a little cool, but I have heat, forced air and radiant heat, and in the summertime it's quite dry and cool. So that's a good thing for building models in. So besides having spares, and I've got totes over here in this bookshelf that's on this side, let's just talk about lighting. You can never have too much lighting. Here is a 2-bulb 4-foot fluorescent light. Here's a 4-foot 4-bulb fluorescent light. And then I also have lighting up here over the airbrushing station, which is where the camera's sitting right now. I can angle any lights I need to where I'm working. So I always have plenty of light. Airbrushing station here where you're looking from the camera's point of view, and then over on this side in this corner I have a dresser drawer and a cabinet which I keep more spares in, and a lot of the things that bulk size containers, like stuff for solvents, I keep those over here. I keep on hand even some distilled water for doing decaling and such. It just gives it a place to stay. Again, I can close it up, keeps the kids out, and it keeps things organized and dust free. At the top of that, of course, I have a television set so I can watch my favorite old-time movies while I'm working the evenings away. Before I had the workbench is ideal for me and one other person, whether it be another adult or one of the grandkids. But now with more than one grandkid wanting to work with Grandpa all at the same time, I had to open up space. So I had my top box and my intermediate box sitting up on the bench. Well, that took up a lot of real estate. It was handy for me, but again, it just was not conducive with having wide open spaces. So I took the roll cab, which was here under the bench, and just stacked them up like they used to be when I worked as a mechanic. A couple things on the bench. My countertop is, the top of my bench is an old countertop, which I recycled. From I don't remember where now, but I have this piece and I have another piece just as big. It's perfect, it's smooth, it's easy to keep clean, and for the most part it's level. You can make it out of particle board, you can make it out of, you can buy it pre-made, you can make it yourself. You just got to look around to find the resource. A good old-fashioned either solid or hollow core door can be used as a bench. Just make sure you seal it up real good and that you work on something other than the wooden surface when you do your building, such as you can pick yourself up some thin plate glass, a small piece like this one here. Okay, I use this one for doing some layout work and for cutting decals. I also have this huge, thick piece of glass that I use for doing different things around the workshop. Let me get this out of the way here. But you can set that on your bench and have that as a nice level surface. Nice thing about glass is, again, it's easy to clean, and for the most part it's pretty level. The other thing you can do is to look around at yard sales or factories that are closing out that do production work. This here is a table saw extension. It's cast iron, it's machined flat. Well, it's heavy, but it's a great layout surface, especially if you scratch build and you need to do precision angles. You can lay things out with magnets. It's just great. You can clean it with some window cleaner, some bleach, whatever you want to use to clean off the residue. You're not going to hurt the metal. I just make sure that when I'm done, I do give it a light coat of oil just so that it stays, keeps it from rusting in damp environments. I have outlets on my workbench so that I can plug things in. Always keep the coffee warmer or beverage warmer going. In this case, it's just plain old water. I've got my netbook here, so if I want to get online, I have a piece of metal right here that is bolted to the top of the counter. This works as a great heat sink when you're soldering. If you want to dissipate heat and not burn your bench up, I have my magnifying lamp that's illuminated, so that can work and do that. That gets up out of the way, so that's a good thing to have. Small pieces of just some foam. This you find at the craft stores. You can cut this into shape. This is just some padding that if I'm working with something and I don't want it to get scratched, I can set that on the bench and work. Oh, the other thing about these metal table saw extensions, great flat sanding surfaces. All you got to do is put your piece of sheet sandpaper down, put your piece on there, and you can rub it to square up angles, especially like doing fuselage halves or any kind of flat surface that you want a good even sanding on. So that's another reason to have one. Or you can use glass as well. The problem with glass is it will bend a little bit. There's a lot of flex. This stuff here, it's not going to flex too much. So you got the lighting, you got the bench, the materials, flooring. I'm going to talk just a quick minute. I'm on a concrete floor. I'd love to have carpeting, but carpeting has its own problems, and that's called the carpet monster. You've all been there. You've all done that. What I do is I have a anti-fatigue mat that sits on the floor in front of my bench. Everything around my workshop I can take out quickly so that I can keep it vacuumed and cleaned. The other thing you want to make sure about your workshop is your overhead. Some of you guys are working in the garage. I'm in a basement and I don't have it quite finished off yet as much as I'd like, but you want to make sure you get up here with your vacuum cleaner and one of those little brushes that come that you never use on your vacuum cleaner and vacuum along the floor joists. That way it keeps all the dirt that accumulates up there and dust from eventually settling down and landing on your model. Let's talk about tool storage. I mentioned that I've got toolboxes. I've also got some bins over here, and I'll show you a picture of those. Actually, let me pull one out. These are bins that I got from a hardware store when they discontinued a line or they reset their fixtures. I keep things like my wooden craft sticks in bulk here so that I can grab them real quick to stir paint. It's a good place to keep paint, solvents, more parts, stuff that you want to keep flat and out of the way. And I keep some of my metal alloys there, the tube structures. I keep those also in big tall jars back here in the back. This one's full of styrene, almost dropped that. And then there's another one. This is a big old-fashioned plastic souvenir mug from somewhere, and it's full of metal extruded pieces. And again, there's different things in there as well. The other thing is, if you have a toolbox like this one, this is one of those hang anywhere magnetic trays or shelves. I can stick this. This is full of my super glues, my CAs, and my kickers, and also my debonders. My toolbox. Well, the nice thing about this toolbox is I can push it out of the way, but when I need to use it to work on a model, I can just pull it out. Now, some people like to have all the little things on top of their bench with all their tools in there right there. Oh, that's fine. I did that too for many, many years. But with little kids around, and I had my kids when they were little, and now we have grandkids, I need to keep things out of reach. And the other thing is that having them in a toolbox, they stay out of the dust and dirt. Okay, that means you got less cleaning to do. Up here in the top box, well, this one's full of paints. I've got testers up here. This is testers and other brands of acrylics. This one here is full of the Tamiya paints. I've got a couple airbrushes in here. I just keep everything in. It's nice and clean. I can lock it if I need to. In my intermediate box, this particular drawer has scale rulers in it when I'm doing layout work. Magnifying glasses, inspection mirrors. I've got some calipers in here. More different types of rulers. I've got some a carburetor jet tool, which allows me to clean out small orifices and airbrushes. Different shaving and shaping devices. This one's full of scissors and shears and rotary cutters. When you're doing that kind of stuff. I also have my paint brushes, which I keep in here. They're flat and they're dry and protected. Hole punches, just anything I need there. This one's full of stencils of different type. If I'm doing lettering stencils of spray, I got some different types of rulers, draftsman supplies. If I'm doing some layout on paper, hole templates, which of course you can see that I've been using these quite a bit for doing painting, like landing gear and stuff. Got a small one here as well. This one came free in the mail. This one actually came from, I think it was, yeah, some kind of American Tool Handyman Club. Hey, it was free and it works. Serves its purpose. My pastels are in here. My Rapidograph pins are in there. Down here in the bottom one of the minute drawer, I've got my different pin vices, different types of pin vices. I've got my razor saws, hobby saws. I've got different types of putty knives for doing using to apply fillers. I've got riveting tools, touch and flows, all my knife blades and knives in here, and tweezers and such in here. Don't want the kids in there, so I make sure that drawer is one of the first ones that locked. Now the bottom one here, again, this was underneath my workbench, so it was right there and I could pull it out. Well, the top one is full of tape and masking materials. I have different types of masking tapes in here. I have the Tamiya tapes, I have parafilm, I have chart pack tapes, I've got metal foil tapes, I've got silly putty, I've got balloons. Believe it or not, balloons work as masking materials, because if you snip them to open up, you don't have that little opening, you can actually stretch them over fuselages and other shapes to protect them. Keep a pair of scissors in here for that purpose of cutting the tapes if I need to. And I think there's even a couple sharp knife blades in here again, just so I have them. And some cardstock, some those advertisement postcard things you get in the mail. A few of those, they're handy to have to fill some space, to cover up stuff. Here I have different tools, some self-healing mats of different sizes. I have some other junk that probably needs to be taken out of here, but I've got a contour gauge. I've got different types of clamps. I got some tools that go along with the True Sander. I have the chopper, and I always want to make sure that I keep something under the handle to keep the razor blade from sitting on the deck of the chopper. That keeps the blade from getting damaged and dull. Okay, there's a tip for you. Pencils, markers, you never know what you're going to find in here. Here we get into a drawer that I have full of Xuron hand tools, and plus some other things. I've got a calipers in here, I've got a micrometer, I've got my Waldron punches. I should have all my small shop but hold and folds in here, and one of them I think is misplaced in another drawer. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I have all these tools, so just handy. Now here's a drawer that gets a lot of use. This is the catch-all drawer, kind of, for everything that deals with the assembly process of building models. It holds my things such as clothespins of different sizes, from intermediate down to some really tiny ones, which they don't have a lot of applications, but there's times when you need them. I've got a whole bunch of metal office paper clamps of different sizes and shapes. These are great for pinching things together while they dry, or while you assemble stuff. I have polishing sticks of different types, shapes, and sizes, sanding sticks, different sanding tools. I have metal files down in here, different shapes of jeweler's files. I have, again, different types of sanding sticks, the cat whisker type that you can get into tight areas. I have all my Dremel accessories in here as well, dental burrs of all different shapes and sizes, and I keep my Dremel tool, and there are some this is a micro finish cloth from Alpha Abrasives. I keep that because that's a finishing item. Some clamps, steel brushes, different types of files, just whatever it takes. Like, man, I tell you what, buy yourself a chainsaw file. These are great. They don't wear out, and they're easy to clean, and you'll find a lot of uses for it when you're trying to do out oval or do round shapes. Going down, we have a drawer that's full of different types of markers and pit pins, as well as some of the dispensers from Xuron. These are great for applying liquids into an airbrush or doing bulk solvent work. These are handy to have. I have, again, different types of markers. I've got some Novus polishing samples. I've got my Sculpey. I've got some Flitz polishing powder. I've got some eyedroppers. I don't know why they're in that particular drawer. My corded soldering iron. I have a cordless soldering iron. My filler putties. My preferred is 3M auto glazing putty. I also have my different epoxies and stuff in here as well. Going down, we get into another drawer that I start to get into some of the bulk items. I got some Legos handy if I got to do a quick layout or make a casting box. I like to make them out of Legos because it's quick and easy. Some precision measuring tools. This one happens to be for measuring reach. I can use this. It's magnetic. It clamps right onto my my table saw annex, so I can use this dial caliper if I'm checking heights and stuff, if I'm trying to line up wings so they're perfectly level, or control surfaces. Just a lot of uses for stuff like that. Got to get it back in the container to protect it so it doesn't get damaged. This is an old box, metal box. It's something I've had for years. I don't even remember where I got it. It might have been some tool that came in it. But what I keep in here is sandpaper pieces and sanding pads. The nice thing about that is when you start using them, they get built up with dust and a little bit of residue. You want to keep that out of your box, and it's not something you can easily clean all the time. So if you put it inside another container, guess what? The dirt and dust stays in the container, not in your drawer. Over bulk supply of craft sticks, ready to refill my dispenser that I have up by the bench. Bulk tape. I mean, when you find tape, different widths and sizes, you can buy it at a discount, buy it, and just leave it wrapped up and put it in the drawer. I've got some Mr. Surfacer. I've got some acrylic paints here. Light bright pegs. These are great for doing modeling. You can find out more about those on the Squawk Box. Here's my cordless soldering device. It goes back up there. I got some empty paint bottles, just handy in case I needed to mix up something. My charger for my Dremel tools down here, so I always know where that is. Make sure we keep everything stand up so it doesn't spill. And then the bottom one, again, it's just full of bulk stuff. I've got a couple rolls of Parafilm M, and I got my extra containers of my favorite solvent. I even keep a can of, this is old, Binks Ren Pack. That tells you how old this can of air is for airbrushing. Keep some rubber gloves. I've got another drill index. I've got my extra airbrush hoses. And you have a bunch of airbrushes, you end up with little hoses. I got a cheapy airbrush for playing with the kids to play with. And then I have things in here like speaker wire, solder. There's an old transformer with windings. Just different things. And then there's some accessories in here, some detailing accessories, some resin bits and stuff that I keep protected in the drawer. So they don't fall off a shelf or anything like that. So there you have it. My toolbox. Again, you can get such things as these magnetic pen and pencil holders. That keeps everything really easy to get to. Now the nice thing about this is, again, keep stuff clean, keep stuff organized, keep stuff out of the reach of kids. But when I don't want to use it, it's just a matter of giving it a shove, and back into its storage corner it goes. So we've covered the toolbox, talked about some of the specialty items. All I can say is it's great being back in the workshop, and I hope you have the opportunity to set up your workshop. And speaking of setting up workshop, I prefer to stand at my workshop. Okay, I like to stand. I sit all day behind my desk. I like to be able to stand. Things are always at reach, but I do have the ability to sit down, and it keeps my body in relatively the same position. I can raise this seat up and down as I need to, and it also works out for the kids when they come to visit, that they have a place to sit on their knees or sit on their butts and sit at the bench and work with Grandpa while we build models together. So there you go. Hope you're listening to the Plastic Scale Modeling Hour, and I'll see you again next time on Hawkeye Squawk Box.